Kangaroo Studios, the AusBiz COB is the key stuff you need to know about the day in business and finance.
Welcome to the COB on this Wednesday afternoon. Pleasure to be here with you and you.
I'm Juliette Sala, you're Nadine Blaney. Let's get straight to where the market has finished, Nadine, this Wednesday, or is finishing, I should say. Up by about 0.5%. Once again, the banks just really impressing this reporting season. So NAB, of course, hitting a record, lifting the market, but also the insurers really out in front today on that premium increase.
Yeah, those health insurers, I don't know about you, but I put in a call to mine to see what we can do about these rising costs.
That too.
Well, you know, but NAB, yeah, that is such a big move, up by more than 4%. The opposite is true for BHP. I mean, it had a stellar session yesterday, so giving up a little bit today, down by about 1%. And Rio reports tomorrow in London and Sydney, so it'll come, I think, after the close tomorrow. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, as well as what happens on the geopolitical front tonight.
Indeed. All right, so let's get to the themes of the day. And we woke up, of course, or not woke up, we got to work as this was happening. I don't know who's waking up at 8, but not us. Bluescope, of course, SGH and the US Steel Dynamics increasing or sweetening, if you will, this takeover offer for Bluescope. I spoke to Ryan Stokes a week ago when SGH reported, sort of really pushed him on this, were they going to continue? And he said that they may have another offer, and they certainly came through with that. But, of course, the analysts and Bluescope itself had said that they really didn't think it was fair until it was around $35 to $40 a share. When you include the dividends, that's probably around where they're getting with this.
Yep, so that is best and final offer we've learned from that consortium. Now, NAB grab has done well, quarterly coming through today. And as I mentioned, share price is up by about 4%. So we'll talk perhaps about some of the dynamics amongst the banks now that we're getting a little bit more of this information coming to light with our guest, Mark Gardner from MPC Markets. So that's coming up in just a bit.
Yeah, and just a bit more on this premium payday. I mean, it's going to hurt a lot of us, isn't it? 15 million Aussies have private health insurance. The health minister saying the increase, this 4.4%, which is above inflation, reflects the rising costs of medical and hospital services, which the government says rose by 5% over the course of last year. But it's the highest rise since 2017. And you've already seen Medibank and NIB say that they're going to increase their premiums by even more than that, 5.1 and 5.47% respectively.
So I was doing a bit of reading today, and just people saying that this is a cost that causes them stress, and that many will look to just stop with their privite health insurance going forward.
With me, I know this is not our soapbox, but we like to make it that sometimes. I mean, every time I go to claim something, not claimable, but then I'm like, what am I actually paying for? If you're listening?
I know. I've had that thought before. I'd almost rather give the money to the government rather than a private or a listed company. Yes, we know, but perhaps we are now saying too much. All right, let's get back on track, shall we? And just get across some of those sectors that really did outperform, and you can see it here. I mean, it might not be good for some, but it's great for others. And Medibank, we'll be speaking with them, won't we?
Yeah, David Koshka, the CEO, just got an actual confirmation email from his team as we speak. NIB Holdings up by 6%. Suncorp, of course, I mean, that was not a good result, was it? And also slashing its dividend. QBE down by about 0.9%.
Yeah, Generation Development, though, looking good. It is up by about 7%. So the banks, here we go. A little bit of give and take here. Judo yesterday had a stellar result, and share price really did well off the back of that. But today, giving some of that back, or you could say giving it back to NAB, which is up by 4%.
All right, and having a look at copper as well. Capstone Copper upping its cost guidance for 2026. Copper was hit, though, quite a bit, and as you said, BHP, a little bit of profit taking there.
So let's get across some of the other news. We've already mentioned Bluescope, National Australia Bank. So a 16% rise in first quarter cash earnings to $2.02 billion is what really put a rocket under that share price. But look at net wealth. Has swung to a half-year loss because of that payout that it's had to do for the victims of the First Guardian Master Fund collapse, but still market clearly liking what it saw.
Yeah, and I read a really good piece on the Motley Fool as well about that ahead of Hub 24 tomorrow. We'll be speaking to Andrew Alcock as well about whether or not you're going to see Hub 24 sort of match some of the numbers that you saw coming through from Net Wealth. Santos, its annual net profit fell, shares down by 1.2%.
It's also going to be cutting jobs, about 10% of its workforce in response to that. Energy prices, the problem there. CSL as well. So it entered an exclusive licensing agreement with Eli Lilly to develop a treatment aimed at preventing heart-related illnesses, but not on that list. I mean, we had a whole heap of results coming through. Superloop was one. Now they're all sort of escaping my brain, but it's just one of those busy
Let's ask
days.
Mark Gardner his thoughts. Mark Gardner from MPC Markets. I
Good afternoon.
You were saying you look so closely at US earnings as well, so it's constantly busy. But where do we start here? Either the insurers or the banks? I mean, the banks are just hitting it out of the park this season.
Yeah, they're doing quite well. I mean, they're probably the cheapest they've gone into earnings season for quite some time, and now they're probably back to expensive-ish again. So, but they always tend to be, overpriced according to the analysts anyway. So they tend to always have a premium in them, no matter what. And I think NAB's fight back today. I mean, that was actually a pretty good result, really, overall. I mean, they're pretty notorious for not doing so well. And Judo Bank doesn't surprise me. I think they're very cheap down here. I think they're just going to continue to grow as time goes on. And the big four there really, I mean, they're just going to eat away at tiny little bits of the big four, and they will continue to grow over the next 5 years.
So you guys at MPC were invested in Judo Bank last year. I know it was one of your picks. Do you still hold it on behalf of clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of it's not necessarily a small cap pick, but it's one of the smaller banks we do like to hold. So I think we were buying around 90 cents to $1, and I think we'll just hold. That's really a long-term 5-year hold for us.
All right, the insurers, we just got on our soapbox then, but obviously if your premiums are going up, as a shareholder, that's good news.
As a shareholder for the health insurers, it's good news, yes. Not so good for us. So,
Yeah, inflation, anyone?
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's no inflation though, right? According to Donald Trump, but and Michelle Bullock's slightly different opinion, but not surprised at all.
Certainly not at
Suncorp.
4.4%, which is what the increase is.
No, not at all. But Suncorp, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. They've had a very rosy run for 5 years straight. It's just a shame that I dare say QBE will end up having a very similar style, result over the coming year. There was over 100,000 claims on that East Coast. It's a shame that JLG got taken by private equity, because they would be getting all the jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Now, when it comes to other results, we had Aluka, Dexus, Mirvac, Vicinity, Magellan, Fletcher Building. I mean, are we starting to get a clearer picture of how Aussie corporates are faring?
I think you probably want to see how it settles. I think the price action's been kind of ridiculous, just in many companies. Technology One was another one today, up
trading update,
9%. And importantly, the CEO coming out and basically, giving a fairly, as did the Xero CEO a couple of weeks ago, a fair assessment on SaaS companies, and which is well worth having a look at as well, because I mean, look, this, SaaS apocalypse, whatever they're calling it, that is going to affect some companies, but there's a lot of them that have got really brilliant modes that it's actually going to really enhance, because the likes of WiseTech, Xero, Technology One, you can build the software, but if you can't connect to the government, to the data, or have the frontier research, or have the security, it's useless having it. So these companies with the moats they've been sold off, but over a 1 or 2 year basis, I think you'll find that this will actually help them, because they'll be able to actually improve their product faster.
Not only that, but we're hearing more and more about how, for SaaS companies in particular, AI and the technology behind it can help them save money. Now, this week, I guess it didn't get a lot of attention, but Premium, one of the other listed platforms, has put out an announcement. Sadly, it will be cutting some of its workforce and suspending some of its engineering services in Armenia, I think. But the cost savings that they're going to be realizing from that is massive. So it's like you're starting to see that AI reality for software companies as well.
Again, good for companies, not necessarily good for us, because I don't know whether you've noticed the standard of online news reporting for finance at the moment is as bad as I've probably ever seen it, and not you guys, of course, but there's too much AI generated stuff at the moment, and it really is, particularly in this SaaS sell-off in the States. It's almost a closed loop of they're hallucinating on their own data, and it's not, and quite a lot of it's not verified. And I write a morning report every morning. I'm finding it increasingly hard to get proper sources of news to find out what's happened overnight. And I've really got to make sure I double check and triple check everything, because everyone's copying their own homework, and quite often if the originator is off the mark, then you're not getting the right information.
You just did a journalism course then. Always check at least 2 sources, Mark. That is the way we do it.
It's the way it used to be.
All right, well, speaking of AI, we're going to talk to Wesfarmers tomorrow. They've got this agentic AI push, this sign with Microsoft that happened a couple of days ago as well, in terms of, personal shopping and all of that. What are you looking out for in the Wesfarmers result?
That'll be interesting to watch. I suppose it's consumer demand. I would expect them to be very resilient given their low cost budget lines. But it's not something we're particularly in at the moment. But I will be very interested, because Wesfarmers is such a diverse company. I'll be interested to see how the result goes. But and what they're doing with that agentic AI as well. Its ability to cross-sell, like Woolworths is regarded, Amanda Barbwell, who now runs Woolworths, started the digital side there. It's regarded as one of the best in the world, and a case study for how to personalise data and how to on-sell and etc. So Australia's got a pretty good background in this technology, and it'll be interesting what Wesfarmers come up with, because we've had a few companies do extraordinarily well.
So, what about data? I mean, we are in a big week, not just here, but internationally as well. We've got a couple of Fed rate cuts baked in, pretty much. Are you in keeping with that?
No, not really. But I mean, whether it should happen and whether it happens are completely different things. It's been much more politicised in the US than it has here. And miraculously, the figures keep dropping in President Trump's favour for further cuts. So I think we've got advanced GDP. We've got quite a bit across the board. So I think you can sort of see with the market the last few sessions in the US, it doesn't really know what to do at the moment, which means I think everyone's probably is waiting on tenterhooks for some of that data. At this point in time, we're very much wait and see, and obviously we're concentrating on Aussie earnings anyway. So and US earnings, and we've got Nvidia coming up next week, I believe, or the week after maybe.
That seems to come around so quickly.
It does. It'll. There's always something on the horizon. And I think we'll just have to wait and see, because they're very conflicting. We probably don't want another 4.4 GDP growth for the US. I think that's in very large conflict to the rest of the data, having that sort of economic growth. We'll have to see how it all settles.
We will, and we've got jobs data locally tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Mark, thank you so much. Mark Gardner from MPC Markets.
Can't believe it's Thursday already tomorrow. It's unreal. Motoring toward the end of February. And already Thursday. All right, one of the companies that did report today was Superloop. It also announced an acquisition. It hit a 3-month high, in fact. So it was the stock of the day for Andrew Whiteland from DP Wealth Advisory and Henry Jennings from Marcus Today.
Superloop's had a good run today. I think that's a relief more than anything else. The deal is a good deal as well. But it's a $1.4 billion company, and it made an interim net profit of $5 million. That's on revenue of $317 million, which was up 23%. We all focus on EBITDA because that's one of those great sort of metrics that people focus on these days. They're talking about 112 to 120 million, up from 109 to 117, so that's good. But $5 million in interim net profit, it's sometimes the numbers, you look at them and you think you know, you've got all that EBITDA, but you're not actually making an awful lot of money in terms of net profit.
They certainly need to continue all the positive stuff. Again, I had a brief read of the commentary just before. 74,000 new customers signed up, so they certainly are getting a lot of momentum there. But the numbers don't necessarily stack up. I mean, I'm not suggesting there's any issues, but, you know, it just doesn't sort of light a fire under me. I'm with Henry. It's certainly not a buy at these levels. I think it's a hold, and if you were able to get it sort of 225 to 250, that's probably the mark. But did a great job of avoiding the killing season, so it's a hold.
You've worked hard for your money all your life. Now your money needs to work hard for you. Whether you're building, transferring or drawing down, the right information makes all the difference. At Ausbiz Retire, you'll find the latest news and insights from trusted experts all in one place. Ausbiz Retire is powered by RAN. Retirement income done differently.
All right, let's have a look at the market leaders on a positive day on the market, and no surprise, Superloop is there along with Netwealth after its earnings, and Magellan up by around 12%. Zip reports tomorrow, but I guess that will be US tomorrow, right? But anyway, up 10% ahead of those earnings, and Tech One, of course, on the trading update.
Yeah, so Capstone Copper disappointing on that outlook statement. Judo, well, in the wake of its results, it has had the brokers weighing in. For one, Macquarie lifted its price target 2.5% to $2.05 per share. Suncorp, getting battered by some of the weather events. Genesis Minerals down, and Pro Medicus, no news, but again, we're having a bit of a reckoning when it came to some of those really high PE, sky-high PE stocks.
Yeah, but I did a deep dive in PME, and the average broker recommendation still has that stock about 80% above where it's trading at the moment.
Wow.
If you're a long-term holder. Horizon Gold in the small end of town up 36%, Manuka Resources up 11%.
And just taking a look at what did not perform today, Pioneer Credit off by 9.4% to 68 cents per share, and wow, that IPO late last year, Karma, not doing very well, particularly today, down by 9% to $1.32. Look, Julia, just a bit of breaking news as we timestamp this past 20 past 4. We have reports coming from the FT that Christine Lagarde will be leaving the ECB before the end of her 8-year term as president. Reportedly, she would like to exit before the French presidential election in April. So Christine Lagarde looking to leave the ECB before the end of her 8-year term.
That is big news. All right, tonight we get US durable goods orders for December, also US housing data, and the FOMC meeting minutes.
Tomorrow, we already foreshadowed it, but we get the unemployment rate, the jobless rate. Look, the jobless rate was one of the reasons, along with inflation, that the RBA decided to hike rates when it last met. We also get quarterly business confidence data coming from NAB. And as I mentioned earlier, Rio Tinto, PLS, Brambles, Wesfarmers, Medibank. We'll be speaking with the CEOs from Medibank, Hub24, and Wesfarmers.
I think Telstra out tomorrow as well,
Yeah.
So very busy day. All right, we're up 0.5% as we close out the day's session. The ASX 200 has closed firmer by 0.5%, 48 points, 9,007. It was nice of Christine Lagarde not to retire during the market. Not that it would have affected the ASX, but she waited till close.
Yeah, we'll watch FX markets. But yeah, above that 9,000 level quite comfortably. Week to date, up by 1%. And just taking a look at US futures, E-minis, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 well into positive territory. We're also seeing Bitcoin make some gains as we head closer to the US Open, where we will still hear from some of the companies reporting there as well.
Yeah, and so very busy day, as we mentioned. We're going to be speaking to Rob Scott from Wesfarmers, Andrew Alcock from Hub24, David Kochkar from Medibank Private, Julian Biggins from MAF, among others.
Amongst others,
You
yep.
know where, amongst others, thank you, Mother. You know where to keep it. 9:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll catch you then.
Have a good night.